The initial diagnosis, the initial belief is that it is something called mallet finger, which is really a baseball injury that Russell Wilson potentially suffered last night. He had x-rays last night. I'm told they were negative as far as broken bones go. Now, we've seen a couple different cases. Tua is one, Gronk is another, where players had negative x-rays. Did an MRI or CT scan, reveals fractures. But as of now, x-rays were negative, so no fractures. It appears to be essentially a badly sprained joint. That is the best description of this. It basically means that Russell Wilson can't flex his finger. As we speak right now, he is on his way to Los Angeles to Curlin Job to go meet with Stephen Shin, who is one of the nation's experts in hand. Potentially, Russell Wilson could have surgery. Not definitively, that choice has not been made, but potentially surgery is coming for Russell Wilson. All of these things will be sorted out as we go throughout the day. We do not know about his availability right now for next Sunday's game, which is, of course, 10 days away. What we do know is what the initial test showed, and that we're going to have more answers throughout the day.
Yeah, no doubt. Something Seattle has not had to contend with in the Russell Wilson era, as durable as any, let alone quarterback player in the league. So major development there that we're keeping an eye on. And Ian, Matthew Stafford, we mentioned in the first half, sustained that finger injury there. You see second quarter last night, having extensive conversations with the trainers, ends up taping it up and worked out okay. Throws for over 300 yards, nearly 400 yards, and the Rams get out with a victory. But what can you tell us about where that finger injury stands?
No, I can tell you that
I looked down at a certain point on a drive in the second quarter. I think the one we kicked the field goal on, and I just looked down and felt a little pressure, and I maybe got it on a handoff or a snap or something. I'm not 100% sure. I looked down and felt a little pressure in there, and it was just a little bit out of place, and was able to put it back in and keep going. It wasn't. It didn't affect me too much, to be honest with you.
I set you up for failure there, Ian. I threw it over the middle. I saw the coverage coming, and you got blown up right there, right between the hashes. What can you tell us about Matthew Stafford's injury?
What I was going to say before Stafford rudely interrupted me is that I mentioned Stephen Shin is one of the nation's experts for hands. I feel like Stafford is one of the nation's experts in putting his own injuries back together. He's had to do it so many times. This was another great example. It seems he just set his finger himself yesterday after a dislocation. Stafford is probably going to be okay. The fact that they have 10 days before the next game is obviously a very good sign, and I would assume he's going to get some treatment. It doesn't seem like there's anything to worry about here, more of a sort of nagging type injury. So I think Stafford is going to be okay. I just wouldn't expect him to probably throw for a couple days, which, considering it's a Friday after a Thursday game, probably wasn't going to anyway. Well, Dalvin Cook is practicing on a limited basis right now, which is probably about what he did last week too. And Cook has been pretty vocal. He believes he can play through this ankle injury. He thinks he will be fine. He knows he can kind of grit it out, and based on the way he played last week, not maybe the greatest game in the history of the world, but he looked good enough to play. I would expect him to play. A good sign for the Vikings, who need to get one. You want your best player out on the field, and it sounds like there's a good chance he will be.
And it sounds like Trey Lance has been taking all his work with the ones for the majority of the week. But now we heard Jimmy Garoppolo say he thought it might be a few weeks before he's ready to return, but maybe he's a little ahead of schedule. Is that kind of what we're hearing?
No, we'll find out later today whether or not Jimmy Garoppolo practices. If he does not practice, then it's safe to say he is not expected to play in the game. And, it's not a long absence like we all thought at the beginning. It's not a long absence like Garoppolo thought. He just knew at the time it was really painful. It's also not a calf strain. It's a calf contusion. It's basically someone kneed him in the back of the calf, so it's been tough for him to push off. So it's not a how much pain can Jimmy Garoppolo tolerate, grit his teeth, and get out there and play. This is more of a how well can he function as a quarterback, and if he can't function at all at practice today, expect Trey Lance, the highly touted rookie, to make his first start for the 49ers.
All right. Remember, anything breaks, Ian is at the ready. We will get it to you immediately.
McCaffrey was pretty positive, pretty optimistic yesterday. And one thing that needed to be known was that the team, while he clearly wanted to play, the team needs to be cautious. It's a long season. He's their best player, and they're pretty good. To that end, Matt Rule has just announced that Christian McCaffrey is officially doubtful for Sunday's game. What that means is he will almost certainly not play, just by the definition of what doubtful means. We almost never, ever, ever see a player who is doubtful actually play. It also means the team is protecting McCaffrey from himself, and the fact that he was able to get out there, practice on a limited basis for 3 days in a row, practice in pads on Wednesday means at least he's got a pretty good shot for next week. You're just probably not going to see him this week.
And Aditi, the Steelers fans are out there wondering how their quarterback's playing on the field, and the Broncos fans are just hoping their quarterback gets on the field. And that's Teddy Bridgewater, who's going through the concussion protocol this week. He is still in the concussion protocol, I'm told. I just sprinted in from practice using my agility and athleticism money to get here for this live shot. So I could tell you I saw Teddy Bridgewater on the field operating in practice just a few minutes ago. Yesterday, he was in full pads with the rest of his team, participated on a limited basis, but talking to people that were there at practice, they told me he looked just like the Teddy Bridgewater that you see day in and day out. And the way he's able to have a chance to play on Sunday is the way things went down on Monday, I'm told, to start this daily process through the protocol to allow him to play on Sundays. Well, he'll be evaluated after practice today to see if he's going to get out of the protocol before Sunday's game. Now, they are giving Drew Lock a number of reps in practice this week to make sure that he is ready as well. And whichever quarterback goes out there, remember, they played against the Ravens last Sunday without both of their starting guards, in Graham Glasgow and Dalton Reisner. The expectation is both of them should be returning on Sunday. That should help either quarterback protecting themselves against this Steelers defense.
Money, this is going to be the game of the week. I mean, I know people are going to say Chiefs-Bills game of the week, but we expect the Chiefs and the Bills to be among the two best teams in the AFC. Let's just chop it up here, right? Because you call the games for the Chargers. When I look at this, we've got the Browns. They've allowed 13 total points the last two games they played, playing an offense that is very good running the ball and very good throwing the ball. Money, this is like strength versus strength, right? We're going to have Myles Garrett, Jadeveon Clowney, and those interior tackles trying to bottle up the variations of this pass and run game that the Chargers have on board. And again, you know this. If they can't stop the run, which is a strong point for the Chargers, this could be a really tough game for Cleveland.
Yeah, I think, it's interesting, Steve, because they're very similar teams.
Very similar.
With what they want to do. They have dominant You can make a really compelling case that Bosa and Myles Garrett are the two best pass rushers in the league, and that may be what it comes down to. Which of those two has the better game? You look at the PFF numbers, you look at everything, all the advanced analytics. These are the two guys, and they are game wreckers. You saw what Joey Bosa did to the Raiders last week. You saw what Myles Garrett did to the Vikings last week, and that may be what this comes down to.
Yeah, look, and someone's going to win and lose, but I think if it's a really good game like we're expecting it to be, we still know that besides the Chiefs and the Bills, you've got two contenders in this weight division right here. And I really think this game, again, is going to be the best game of the week.
Yeah, and just quickly to button it, Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt get a lot of attention, understandably so. But last week we saw that Austin Eckler, that 150 yards from scrimmage, a rush touchdown, a receiving touchdown. Yep. We know that running game really got on track last week as well.
Yeah, Patrick Mahomes is definitely excited, Matt, about what Josh Gordon can bring to this offense. And this has happened very quickly. The idea when he worked out and signed a couple weeks ago was that it would be probably a month-long process to get a guy who hadn't played football in 2 years up to speed. But he came in great shape. He worked out well. And Mahomes loves this big body, this athletic player. They've been bonding in the locker room. Mahomes has talked about the amount of time he spent trying to, throw passes before and after practice to Gordon. They talked about their Texas ties and their love of the Houston Astros. But this is significant for the Chiefs because they've been searching for the second wide receiver since the offseason. They need somebody to help complement Tyreek Hill. They obviously have Travis Kelce at tight end, but they want a third option in this passing game for Patrick Mahomes. And Kim, that they need it against this Bills defense.
Absolutely. And Jeff, if any team knows about an instant chemistry between quarterback and receiver, it's the Bills with Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs a year ago. But I do want to start with, of course, the Bills defense, which is playing absolutely lights out under Leslie Frazier. I remember asking Frazier last year about his Bills defense early in the season. The Bills were winning games, but it was because of the offense. And Frazier said, yeah, my guys don't like this. The Bills' defense is a bunch of alpha males who are used to leading that team. Well, they can feel good about their start to this season. The Bills, first in the league, allowing 11 points per game, first in the league in total yardage. And they've really, there you saw Tremaine Edmonds with an interception, significant certainly for Edmonds and the Bills. And you're talking about a Bills defense that has to feel very good about itself. heading into Kansas City Sunday night.
Yeah, and I'll just quickly add, Jeff, you mentioned Josh Gordon being out there. I remember in 2017, I was calling the Chargers-Browns game, and it was in December. It was his first game back. He had missed the entire season, and he lit it up. He had not played in like a year. I think he went like 7 for 100 and plus. I mean, it was nuts. So don't be surprised if Josh Gordon gets out there and does some damage. But let's talk about the other side doing damage, Kim, and this offense for the Bills that has really found its rhythm after a little bit of a slow start here.
It has, and no surprise that Stephon Diggs is leading the way in that regard. Listen, I know Diggs had a fantastic year a year ago, his first as a Bill, and he may or may not replicate those numbers. The Bills have added Emmanuel Sanders, who's been absolutely fantastic. I still don't know how he made that catch in the end zone against the Washington football team in week 3. And Josh Allen told me after the game he didn't know how Emmanuel Sanders made that catch in the end zone against the Washington football team. But then you put Cole Beasley on the field, obviously, Gabriel Davis, the tight end Dawson Knox has made some contributions. And you're really talking about a wide receiver core that's interchangeable. They can stress a defense any way Brian Daboll chooses to, including 5 wide if he wants to. So it's going to be very interesting to see how this very confident Bills offense, led of course by Josh Allen, handles the Kansas City defense this time around.
Yeah, Kim, well, handling the Kansas City defense has not been a problem for anybody so far this season. And I have to imagine the Bills have to feel pretty confident about what they can do against this bunch. This unit cannot cover. They can't pressure quarterbacks consistently. They can't stop the run. And it's really bad when you look at last week's game, and the upside was that they only allowed the Eagles to score 3 touchdowns in the red zone. Before that point, teams had been scoring at a 100% clip. This is Steve Spagnuolo, the Chiefs defensive coordinator, is really trying to be positive about this. He's saying injuries are a factor. They didn't have Frank Clark last week, and Charvarius Ward, their cornerback, was out. But again, facing this Bills offense with Allen and all those weapons you just mentioned, it's going to be hard for the Chiefs because they have not found a way to solve anybody's offense so far this season.
All right, so we got a grip of game picks here with our Cynthia Freeland. And Cynthia, you are going to start with, the Cards have a chance to pull further away from the pack. They face San Francisco, the same 2-3 record they could send them to, as Seattle now has after their Thursday night loss. So a huge one for Arizona.
And they keep rolling is the forecast. 28-23 is the projection. And I want to talk about Kyler Murray passing outside the numbers, an area where he tops the league in terms of completion percentage according to Next Gen Stats. Highest passer rating in the NFL, 140.1. Ooh, that's real good, like really, really good. So when you look to see how this matches up against the 49ers, well, they've allowed the second most such completions at 43. So it's kind of their strength versus a defective part of their defense, an area they need to address here, which makes Kyler Murray's projection 259, 2 touchdowns, an interception, 39 rush yards, and a rushing touchdown. That's 3 touchdowns.
3 total touchdowns.
That's a lot of total touchdowns.
I can do that kind of math. Even I can do that
2,
sort
3.
of math. And Kyler Murray looks to be an overwhelming favorite through 4 weeks for the MVP. I think this one's a little under the radar good. What? You don't think he is overwhelming?
Oh, I think he is, but I mean, it's 4 weeks.
I know. Hey, let's celebrate him for the time being.
Remember when Russ was cooking? We're like, you got it.
I do recall
last
that.
week,
It fell apart rather quickly. Same division, too. I think this is an under the radar good one. Khalil Mack versus his old team. The Raiders trying not to throw away their hot start at 3-0. Bears get a little boost with the arrival of rookie quarterback Justin Fields. We don't know if Khalil Mack's going to play, but this should be a good one, I think.
I have a closer than expected game, 26-21 in this matchup. I understand that when you watch the Justin Fields stuff, you see a little confusion, but I think they start to pull it together here. If you look to see those passes of 10-plus air yards, this is an area that forecasts to improve in this matchup. Last week against the Lions who are not the best defense, 5 of 9, 172 yards and a pick on such attempts, but the Raiders, they're allowing a 40% completion percentage on these 10-plus air yard attempts. That is the 4th lowest in the NFL. But remember, his mobility, his ability to scheme for a different type of, they're not prepared for him the same way they would have been with Andy Dalton. So this is interesting, which leads to Justin Fields' projection of 226 yards, 2 touchdowns, a pick, and 31 rush yards. But those 31 rush yards really set up a lot of other goodness.
By the way, how about this wacky one? I know you know, but you watching may not. The Raiders have allowed their opponent to score a touchdown every time they enter the red zone. So get into the red zone, and you are going to get a touchdown. Shifting to the Saints, tough loss. They dropped one to the previously 0-3 Giants last week. Now they get the Washington football team still searching for that pass rush that carried them to a division crown last year.
You know, sometimes my model surprises me, and my model surprised me here too.
Is that right?
I have a 1-point win in favor of Washington, 24-23, because of Taylor Heineke's ability to navigate the blitz. If you look to see his 2 touchdowns, no interceptions, 138.5 passer rating when he faced the blitz this season, that's a really good thing considering how often the Saints blitz. They blitz at the 10th highest rate. So that leads to a good projection for Alvin Kamara, though, because you have to figure out the other side, right? Like, let's go with the low-hanging fruit. It tastes very good, right? For Alvin Kamara, 82 rush yards, a touchdown, 4 receptions, 33 receiving yards.
Yeah, the low-hanging fruit. It's more ripe, you know?
Tastes
nice and
just
sweet, exactly. It's delicious.
It's easier to grab, you know.
Let's get to the reason why you're here, to make the picks. We have NFL football on Sunday morning instead of game day morning.
I get the morning off.
That's right. So we have got Jets, Falcons from London right here at 9:30 a.m. Eastern. What do we got?
Okay, this is a surprise because it changed with no Calvin Ridley. So with no Calvin Ridley, the Jets win 23-21 in this matchup. But I'm going to talk about Cordero Patterson because his ability to be helpful, useful, and a really key weapon at every level of the field. Well, it's almost as swashbuckling good as my shirt, which looks a little piratey.
It is a little piratey, yes.
Swashbuckling good.
A puffy sweater.
Yeah, it's a puffy sweater. Maybe Cordero Patterson will rock the puffy sweater. Who knows? He has a receiving touchdown
that would be something.
at every level of the field this season. Behind the line of scrimmage, short, intermediate, and deep. He is so multi-purpose and versatile. His projection actually went up. It started off at about 33 rush yards, 3 receptions, 25 yards, and a touchdown. But look for it to go even higher than that because of no Calvin Ridley.
Yeah, it is. Look, I think it is underreported because of their record. But, man, we have been waiting for this Cordero Patterson for a decade. And it took
In every
Arthur Smith
team.
at every single team
And
he stopped by.
we always talk on fantasy when we used to be on fantasy.
Yes.
Is it the Cordero Patterson week?
Exactly.
Is it? Oh, and then now it actually was last week. So, you know.
I mean, the Bears showed him as an incredible special teams weapon, so that happened.
Let's hope he doesn't play special teams out. Like,
No.
just use him in the offense. Like,
now-
you don't need to do that.